I'm Vivian Greentree. I'm from Tucker, Georgia, and a Navy veteran and military spouse. My husband retired this year after 20 years in the Navy, and we have two boys together who are actually here with me tonight, but not on camera because teenagers. But I, like you, am excited about the prospect of spending some time together tonight virtually with this group of service members and veterans, military families, and dedicated volunteers from all across Georgia. And, you know, together collectively creating a Georgia where everyone can belong, contribute, and thrive together in a country that values service and equality, inclusion, meritocracy, and of course the arts, which we can enjoy, so we can enjoy the talents like our special guests here tonight. Your hard work is going to send Reverend Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff to Washington and help create the future we've all worked for, what we volunteered for when we raised our hands and agreed to serve our country. Georgia is home to over 700,000 veterans and nearly 90,000 active and reserve service members. And we deserve leaders who will work with our next commander-in-chief to protect our service members and provide the resources and build the community capacity that military families need to thrive. Leaders like Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, who understand our country's sacred obligation to veterans and military families, including those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and who will be champions of our nation's military families in Washington, creating supportive programs and policies that we can all benefit from. Democrats turned Georgia blue in November by engaging in a very diverse coalition of voters to make our voices heard. The same voters that will send Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock to the Senate on January 5th. Those who are heartened by a groundswell of encouragement from all facets of society that reinforce our interconnectedness, our commonalities, and highlight just how valuable and vital each of us are to each other, which is why we're here tonight, celebrating service and reveling in the American experience. And we're lucky enough to have Mike Blumenthal to start us off. Mike was born and raised in Connecticut and graduated from Harvard with a degree in government and Islamic studies and served as a Navy SEAL officer until 2017. Inspired by the legacy of artists from the 60s and 70s, Mike turned his attention to his lifelong passion for writing and performing music. And he's traveled extensively around the US, performing along the way, entertaining audiences with his unique blend of soul, jazz, folk, and funk influences. I know you've got an interesting radio dial. He now lives in Nashville and is working on his debut full-length album. Mike, thank you for your service and for getting us started tonight. And please know our thoughts and prayers are with you and all of Nashville in the wake of the Christmas morning explosion. Mike.
Thank you, Dr. Greentree, for that awesome intro, and really appreciate it. And thank you to the Georgia Dems for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to participate tonight and be a part of the musical and military lineup. As a former SEAL, as a musician, and as a citizen, it's an honor to add my voice to those supporting Ossoff and Warnock for Senate. And so I'm going to get to it, and I'll start with a song that I wrote about some of the lessons that I've learned from trees. Far as the eye can see, waving jade canopies, limbs stretching soil to sky, beckon for me to climb. If I can let go of all I want to know and fall like a leaf from the crown to the ground, I'll be free. Free as any tree. Roots guide my every step. Rings so I won't forget. If I can let go of all I want to know and fall like a leaf from the crown to the ground. I'll be free, free as any tree. Looking over a world that goes, standing still is the way to grow, and fall like a leaf from the crown to the ground. I'll be free, free as any tree. Thank you. I'm going to shift to a slightly less optimistic tone and talk a little bit about loss. It's something that veterans know, and at this point, our whole nation knows. Veterans know it from losing brothers and sisters in arms, but also from missing time with family and friends while on deployment. And as a nation, we've all faced a lot of loss this year from COVID, both the direct impacts of the virus and then also the second and third order effects. And at times like these, more than ever, we need leaders who have strength and compassion. And I know that Ossoff and Warnock will bring those values to the Senate and care for us as people. So on that note, this next song is called Shadows, and it speaks to loss. Try as I might to leave you behind, you're on my mind, clinging to a shadow, easy to find a reason to fall, the weight of it all, living with a shadow. Visions of the past unfold. Oh, 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 oh. Ooh, voices calling, tell me to open my eyes. Ooh, your smile's haunting, your sunshine is leaving me blind. Living with a shadow, visions of the past unfold. Oh, 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 oh. Nothing to lose when nothing remains. There's no escape, the future is framed, clinging to a shadow, visions of the past unfold. Oh, 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 yeah. Ooh, ooh. Voices calling, tell me to open my eyes. Ooh, ooh. Your smile's haunting, your sunshine is leaving me blind. Living with a shadow, visions of the past unfold. Oh, 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 oh. Try as I might to leave you behind. Thank you. And so I've got one more song for you before I turn it over to even more exciting entertainers and speakers. This last song is just a little bit about my journey from the military to music. I still carry the values of service and honor that I honed in the Navy. And I know that Warnock and Ossoff will carry those values forward as well. And I just want to thank everybody, every volunteer, every staff member, and every supporter for all the work you're doing, and say, go vote and keep up the tremendous work. So this last song is called With the Buffalo. I was only 21 when I first slung up the gun. Told them send me off to that foreign soil. By the age of 28, I had done and about faced. Took my trade for that open road. With the buffalo ragged hooves that pound the earth, my soul roams. With the buffalo, with the buffalo. There were days when I shed tears. Every month seemed to last for years. Saw my past inside the washed up tidal pool. I was 30 when I parked on a Nashville street at dark. Thought I might stick around this town for a while and get back my smile. Ragged hooves that pound the earth, my soul roams with the buffalo. Ragged hooves that pound the earth, my soul roams with the buffalo. Soon I stopped counting the years. Soon I stopped living in fear of the many different me's I would never be. Oh, ragged hooves that pound the earth, my soul roams with the buffalo. Ragged hooves that pound the earth, my soul roams with the buffalo. I almost threw my camera off. Have a lovely rest of your evening, and thank you everyone for listening, and go vote.
Love it. Thank you, Mike. You are a gentleman and a scholar, and your songs are a very poignant reminder that we are in this together and that the service of our service members must be met with a commensurate support and courage from our elected officials. Which, speaking of, next on the agenda, we have Lieutenant General retired Walt Gaskin, a Savannah native and a graduate of Savannah State University, after which he was commissioned into the United States Marine Corps as an officer. His distinguished career includes time as the Deputy Chairman of the NATO Military Committee, Commanding General of the 2nd Marine Division at Camp Lejeune, or Lejeune, I think as he might pronounce it, having been stationed there, and Commanding General of the 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force, during which time General Gaskin led 2 MEF during its year-long deployment to Al Anbar Province as the Commanding General of Multinational Forces West. In 2013, he retired after 39 years of service. General, thank you for your service and for sharing your service story with us here tonight.
And thank you very much, Vivian. I'm excited to be here virtually, and all of the service members and veterans and dedicated volunteers for this great cause. You know, the hard work that they're doing to send Reverend Warnock and Jon Ossoff to Washington to get control of the Senate is phenomenal. The one thing I'll say about being an officer in the military is that we take the same oath as the commander in chief. We take the same oaths that the senators do. And every one of those senators confirm every officer's selection and assignments. So it's important that you have those that appreciate the sacrifice and service of military folks. So during this challenging season, every citizen of Georgia has a historic opportunity to help reset the direction of the country toward a path of hope, justice, equality, and inclusion. As a senior military national leader, I have been responsible to mothers and fathers and spouses and children of sailors, soldiers, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardmen, that we were responsible to equip, train, and care for them while they serve the citizens of our great state and nation. Many of us also have sons in the military. And though we talk a lot about what we expect of veterans and how we want the Congress to respond to that, we also are very much aware that we live in these communities as well. We came from these communities and we grew up in those communities, and our family members are there who feel the brunt of those things that we often don't get as they get, that we were accustomed to. My decision to serve my country came naturally for me. Growing up in Savannah, Georgia, being among the first group to integrate the high schools in Savannah, I remember my arriving at Savannah High School with one of 12 African American and a school of 2,400. There began the challenge of integrating and the exception. Graduating from Savannah High School, I went to Savannah State University, becoming the first Marine to graduate from the NROTC unit, commissioned there, along the time when the Department of the Navy, in conjunction with that current administration, decided that they wanted to put ROTC at historically Black colleges and universities, the step toward inclusion, not unlike what we see now as it faces historically Black colleges and universities. But what I learned during that time as I moved from Savannah, where I learned many lessons that performance counts. You needed to be able to develop those skills that you were able to productive. But I also learned that you needed to have recognition of what you did, and you had something that was core values. That it was very true what Dr. Martin Luther King says, it's the content of your character. It is who you are, and that your word is your bond, and that your men and women that you led trusted you to do what is right and best in that time that they spend away from their families and in their lives. I can remember very clearly in combat in Iraq when senators came to see us, came to ask us what did we need, whether that be equipment or time or experience that we had with other cultures. Not only did I have the experience of what then was the three amigos, Senator McCain, Lindsey Graham, and Senator Lieberman, but I also had Vice President Biden, who came to visit. They came because they wanted to see what the veterans were doing and what we shared as a bond. And that part extended back to my first dealing with the Senate, where I had to go a number of times and testify. I would like to have someone in there who has learned the experience, who has the empathy, and these candidates do. We have a chance to have someone who really knows what it's like to live in Georgia, what it's like to come through the hard times, whether that be healthcare, education, and the experience that and they can take to them. So I'm very happy to be a part of those that says we need to make sure that we get the Senate on the right step. And as Vivian mentioned, the 700,000 veterans and nearly 90,000 active duty members that live in this state. Thank you for your service, and thank you for the opportunity to say the best thing that we can do, as was always said by John Lewis, the precious right to vote is so precious for us. Thank you for the opportunity to say, go vote and represent us as veterans and military men and women. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Your story is one of a patriotism of benevolence and generosity of spirit, diversity as a fact and inclusion as a choice, and unity and hope as a result of that inclusion, volunteerism, and service. And next up, we have Kasey Lansdale with us to continue that dialogue. Kasey is a country music singer-songwriter from Nacogdoches, Texas, where I learned how to say Nacogdoches was when we were stationed in Texas, and is also known for her work as an author, editor, actress, and producer, as well as a host and founder of the East Texas Songwriters Workshop. Produced by Grammy Award winner John Carter Cash, Lansdale is known as a jack of all trades, from a country blues singer and songwriter to actress and author. And she is a regular performer at the famed Hotel Cafe in Hollywood. As an author, she was first published by Random House at the tender age of 8 and has since written several short stories and novellas. Her new collection, I love this name, Terror is Our Business, was lauded by Publishers Weekly as a storytelling that delightfully takes on a lighter and sharper edge. Kasey, thank you for spending some time with us tonight.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. And I'm excited and honored to be here with all the service members, veterans, and dedicated volunteers from across Georgia. As you mentioned, my name is Kasey Lansdale, and I'm a singer-songwriter from East Texas, now living in Los Angeles. And I'm here to say that these elections are much too important for us to sit out and wait until January 5th to vote. If you haven't already voted, I hope all of you have a plan to vote early and that your friends, families, and neighbors have plans to vote too. My boyfriend and I have family in Georgia, and they've already cast their ballot. Because of the current restrictions, I couldn't bring my band together, so I wanted to bring them to you. So I hope you enjoy the Oceanaires performance of Great Balls of Fire.
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, but what a thrill. Oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I laughed at love because I thought it was funny. You came along and boom, me honey. This love is fine, I changed my mind. Oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Kiss me, baby. Woo, feels good. Hold me, baby. Well, I want to love you like I love you should. You're fine, so kind. Got to tell this world that you're mine, 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 mine. I chew my nails and I twiddle my thumbs. I'm real nervous, but it sure is fun. Come on, baby, you drive me crazy. Oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. but it sure is fun. Come on, baby, you drive me crazy. Oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
All right. Thanks for the video, Kasey. That was great. Hey, everyone. My name is Dan Brzezinski. I want to welcome everyone to this and just say thanks personally for everyone being here. It's great to see so much interest in this race going on in Georgia. I know feel like we already crossed the finish line, and then turns out we've got another race to run. But sometimes that results in the greatest sense of accomplishment. So glad to see that everyone's still motivated for this. I'm here because I'm also a veteran. I grew up in Georgia. I was born and raised in Atlanta, in Peachtree City, went to school at West Point, and had the privilege and the honor of serving as an infantry platoon leader in the U.S. Army in Afghanistan in 2009. While I was leading my troops in combat, shortly into my deployment, I had the misfortune of stepping on an IED and was pretty significantly wounded. I lost both my legs above the knees. But despite that injury, I've been able to live a really meaningful and fulfilling life. And I owe it all to this country, to the soldiers I was serving with, from the medic on the ground that kept me alive, David Wuketti, to the surgeons, the corpsmen, the nurses and the docs at Kandahar, to all the staff at Walter Reed, to the people who taught me to walk again, to the people who fed me meals and took care of me. So despite the severity of my injury and the sacrifice I made, I still feel like I owe even more to this country. And I feel like so much has been given to me and so much is still expected of me. When I think about our elected officials that we have the privilege of voting for, I think that I always look for candidates who feel the same way I do about the nation. I look for candidates who want to give back, who feel like they owe a lot to this nation, and who are running for office not to enrich themselves, but because they want to enrich the lives of their fellow Americans. And so when I look out at the political landscape, I see two great candidates in Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. They're running to make our state and our nation a better place, a more equitable and fair place for all Americans. And they're my candidates of choice. So I've already voted for them. I voted early. I hope everyone else has as well. Our next step is to encourage as many fellow Georgians as possible to get out there and vote for them as well. So I'm excited. I think they're great. I encourage all of you to do everything that you can to keep it up, and we'll get them across the finish line. I'm going to turn it over next to Eustacia McLeod Carter. Eustacia is another one of our wonderful Georgia veterans. She served 20 years in the Air Force and then continued her service to the nation with another 20 years in the U.S. Postal Service. And she has worked hard in local politics. She and her husband live in Marietta, where I assume they've had the happy enjoyment of seeing a couple of great blue waves now. So she's been at the front lines. She knows what it's like, and she's going to talk to us next. Eustacia, it's all yours.
Thank you, Dan, and thank all the speakers that have gone before me. I am so excited to be here virtually with all the service members, veterans, and dedicated volunteers from all across Georgia. Your hard work is going to send Reverend Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff to Washington and flip the Senate. Georgia is home to 700,000 veterans and nearly 90,000 active and reserve service members, and they deserve leaders who will work with our next commander-in-chief to protect our troops and provide resources their families need to thrive. Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock understand our country's sacred obligation to service members, veterans, and military families, those who have made the ultimate sacrifice and will be champions for our armed servicemen and women in Washington. Democrats turned Georgia blue in November by engaging a diverse coalition of voters, the same voters that will send Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock to the Senate on January the 5th. This has been an election year like no other, and everything that was on the ballot in November is still on the ballot in January. We're going to keep Georgia blue come January. Therefore, all Georgians need to show up and vote. Today is the first day of the final week of early voting in Georgia. Thursday is the last opportunity Georgians will have to vote early in person. If you haven't voted, I need you to have a plan to vote early, as well as your families, friends, and neighbors. Know your polling location and have transportation. If you have requested and received an absentee ballot, please drop it in at your county's designated drop boxes immediately. Please go to georgia.org, georgiademocrat.org/vote today and make a plan to vote. If you or someone you know has a question about voting, please contact the voter hotline number at 888-730-5816. Our staff is equipped to answer questions in 7 different languages: English, Spanish, Korean, Mandarin, Vietnamese, Hindi, and Urdu. On January the 5th, Georgians have the chance to take back the Senate by sending Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock to Washington, leaders who will keep working class Americans across the country first. These elections are too important to sit out or wait out until January the 5th. Make a plan to vote. Thank you. Back to you, Vivian.
Thank you, Stacia, and to all our performers tonight, and to the volunteers who got us here. This has been, for me, some very much needed time together, and it has reminded me that our ultimate renewable national resource is a civically engaged citizenry, or what do we call in the military community an esprit de corps, which I know the Marines like. So I hope it provided you with the same bit of hope, unity, optimism for our future together as well, because we are at a precipice of our future together where we can build back better, more inclusive, and perhaps more empathetic, so that we can all be stronger and safer together. When we volunteered to serve, it was because of what we wanted to protect: a way of life, an orientation towards service, integrity, a commitment to our country and each other. G.K. Chesterton said, "The true soldier fights not because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what's behind him." And this is a group that knows that perhaps more than most, the cost of democracy, the danger, the separations, the moves, and the impacts to our family. And yet we still volunteered and will continue to volunteer, just in a different manner now. So first things first, I think you get the message. We need Georgians to show up and vote, and we need help to make that happen. Today is the first day of the final week of early voting in Georgia. If you haven't voted already, I hope you have a plan or a standard operating procedure. Get your SOP ready for your friends, your families, your neighbors, and get their plans to vote. And as you're texting Happy New Year, slip in a reminder to vote with that meme about being full of bread and cheese. And on January 5th, Georgia has the chance to speak up for working families, military families across the country, and send leaders to Washington who put people first, servant leaders that are driven by a patriotism of benevolence. And so for our final performance tonight, I get to turn it over to Calvin Lee, who is going to be performing live from a studio in Atlanta. Calvin grew up in Arkansas on his family's farm, where music was fused into every aspect of his childhood. And he picked singing up, to the workers on the farm and church. During his time at college at Lamar University, he performed at festivals alongside established acts like Tracy Byrd, Zona Jones, and Jimmy Van Zant. With deep rural roots and a voice grown in gospel, Calvin has created his own unique blend of country soul. And in his first single, My America, the lyrics highlight the blue-collar lifestyle he's so familiar with, while paying homage to those who fight for our country. Featuring Heidi Newfield and Keith Burns, the Grammy-nominated duo formerly known as Trick Pony, the track is the quintessential picture of the American dream and serves as a call to action to the American people to hold on to life's simple pleasures in the midst of hard times. Calvin, I can't think of a better way to close us out. Thank you for spending time with us, for sharing. Take it away.
Thank you. How y'all doing tonight? I really appreciate being here. I appreciate this opportunity. I'd like to thank the veterans and their families, and I'll just let y'all know that we appreciate y'all. And like I said, I'm here in Atlanta, and I'd like to perform a couple songs for y'all tonight. One of the songs I like to do is about Garth Brooks' song. It's called "The Dance." This is one of the ones I picked. Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above. For a moment, all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to meet the day. Holding you, I've held everything. For a moment, wasn't I the king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, hey, who's to say? You know I might have changed it all. And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to change. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to meet the day. It's my life, it's better left to change. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to meet the dance. Thank you. I have another song I want to do for you. This song is my next release after 21. I want to do this song. It's called Beautiful Lie. Had a picture in his hands, an old faded 8x10 that he talked to from time to time. I could see he was hurt, staring into his bourbon as yesterday flows through his mind. He slowly shook his head, turned to me and said, love is a lie that everyone wants to believe, and fools like you and me a beautiful life, the saddest story ever told. It starts with a sweet hello and ends with a sad goodbye. Oh, love is just a beautiful life. Well, I bought him a bourbon, said one thing's for certain, you're not the only one hurting in this bar. So I pulled out your picture and tore it all to pieces, the way you tore apart my heart. I said, oh man, here's to you and two fools who know the truth. Love is a lie that everyone wants to believe, and fools like you and me fall for now and then. A beautiful life, the saddest story ever told. It starts with a sweet hello and ends with a sad goodbye. Love is just a beautiful life. It starts with hello and ends with goodbye. Baby, our love was just a beautiful life. Thank you. Thank you very much. This next song is called My America. This is a song that I want to dedicate it to all of you out here. This is an American song. It's a very beautiful song. It's called My America, and I'm going to sing it for you. Talk about the weather all night. Yeah, my daddy worked the land with cow in his hand, and at night I would hear him pray. Sometime was good, sometime was tough. That's the way I grew up. My America, baseball games and mom's apple pie. That old factory just sat empty, hard for folks to get by. But you can't eat finer than down until the down. It stays packed every night. It's all about friends and family, and that's right where I'm. My Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. And you guys go out and vote. Please vote. Thank you.